Welcome back to the More Than the Mindset podcast with myself, A.
And myself, Bio.
Today we're going to be discussing the topic of police. Again, these are our thoughts and opinions, but I must say that what we're talking is actually going to be the truth, as hard as it is going to be for a certain portion of our audience to hear. I think that for those people who don't kind of understand what we're saying immediately, I think the best thing for you to do is to share the podcast with your friends and have that discussion with people you feel comfortable talking to with about such a sensitive topic, and then form your opinions after.
And again, follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at More Than Mindset. So as A discussed, we're talking about police, and something comes to mind because obviously the way that black people are treated by the police. In the past, I think 2 weeks ago, there was two of my friends, colleagues or whoever they may be, who were involved in incidents of police brutality. One of them, he was on a night out or something, and he was stopped by a police officer, and it was actually him who was stopped. It was his friend who he was with, a white man, and in the end, long story short, they gripped him up, they threw him on the floor, they started, you understand, roughing him up, and he hadn't done anything, but just because of the fact that he was black, it led to that. When the person who was with, who they had actually come to stop, who was white, ended up, leaving and going home. Not as if he snaked it or anything, but I'm saying they let him go. You get what I'm trying to say? And then on that same week, I think like a day before, there was also another incident, which I think you're gonna.
Well, yeah, these two incidents prompted this kind of podcast. The second incident happened to myself. Basically, I was stopped by the armed police for matching a description of a black male wearing jeans and a jacket, which was so generic, they could have picked out. Well, it's just such a generic description, and I think a lot of us understand what it is to be stopped and searched based on meeting a description that ranges from 5'4" to 6'9", yeah, medium, slim to big build, and wearing clothes. So, long story short, I was run up on by the police, armed police, with their fingers on their triggers, treated me as if I was a criminal, conducted themselves in a way that is contradictory to the stop and search procedures. When I asked them for an apology at the end and for them to clarify themselves on what it was and why I'd been stopped, the police officer turned around and said, "For what?" And they walked off. So if you want to see the full story, just head on to the More Than a Mindset Facebook page, and there's a link to the newspaper article. The Croydon Guardian newspaper article. The journalist there did a nice job writing it up and really encompassing the feelings of many young black males, or just really any young males of colour who are quite often just profiled, pulled over, searched, and just treated in a bad way. So let's jump into this podcast. I think the first thing we need to discuss is an article that we read where the chief of the Met Police admits that the Metropolitan Police is institutionally racist. Now, it's quite an interesting article, and obviously it is a newspaper article, so they have taken words and put them in certain contexts. But the basic premise is he is standing up and admitting that black males are more likely to be stopped and searched than their white counterparts. And he alludes to say the reason why. He says that we can't explain it. We can explain it, but we can't explain it. So basically, everybody has two personalities. They have the personality that they have when they're with their friends and they can be open and honest, and then they have the personality that they have when they're speaking with the public. I feel like if this was a conversation between other police people and it wasn't being televised, that he would have said, the reason we stopped them is because they carry knives, they carry guns, they sell drugs. And he would have very much stereotyped the whole black community into, they're all criminals, so we're justified in stopping them. But because he knows that is not true, and he was on TV, he had to say, well, there are some reasons why it is a valid reason, but also there's other reasons why it's unvalid. These I don't know, I can't explain. And it just starts from there, really.
I've got the article here, actually. It's in The Guardian. In an interview for the Met piece in London, Hogan Howe conceded that young black men in London were very much more likely to be stopped and searched than young white men. He added, I can't explain that fully. I can give you reasons, but I can't fully explain it. So there is some justification. This is obviously saying that there's justification to say that black people are stopped and searched more often. And just based on experience, I remember when I was about 11, just coming out of primary school, I didn't really, I was oblivious to all of this. I mean, I was a child, I didn't understand anything. So I didn't really know that. I thought the police are there to back you, innit? Like the police are there to protect you. They're civil servants, so they're there to serve the public. However, I remember some elders speaking to me, one of them being my father also, and they were saying how I'm coming to that age where I'm going to start getting stopped and searched. And I didn't understand it really. I was 11. I was thinking, well, I don't really do anything bad. Why am I going to get stopped? But then, lo and behold, by the time I hit 14, I had been stopped and searched more times than I can count. I mean, sometimes, because when they used to search us, they gave us a little slip to say that we've been stopped and searched. So I used to carry that around to show that actually now I've been stopped and searched today already. So don't bother wasting your time. You get what I'm trying to say? And this experience is not something that's just me. It's something that's common. If you speak to many black youths, then you'll find that this is the case. And sometimes I'm not going to lie. When I started to dress a bit different and so on, it happened less. In honesty, however, it's not to say it didn't happen, and it's not to say that people who aren't in, even as A was saying, when he got stopped and searched, you're coming back from work, innit? It's not like you were out in a trap house or something. You were coming back from work, so it's not that it's people who are doing bad things that get stopped and searched. And all of those times I got stopped and searched, they didn't find one thing. Not once have I been arrested for the police finding something on me whilst they stopped and searched me.
And yeah, just as Bayo was saying, when I was a young kid, I was also sat down and told, listen, police are going to stop you, they're going to search you, and if you don't speak to them in a certain fashion, that they're likely to harass you, assault you, and try to criminalize you. And again, me being naive, you know what I mean, having PC Tony come into my school in a nice PC, when you see this on the street, this is what you should do, don't approach strangers, you know what I mean? Me thinking, what, PC Tony's gonna dash man up against the wall for meeting the description? Mum, you must be joking. I mean, a couple days later, I said in a previous podcast, me and my brother's running underneath a bridge because the birds poo down from the bridge. Police pull us over, push us up against the wall, tell us to take our shoes off. These times, we're 9 and 13 or something. I'm not too sure the ages, but it started from there. And now the article that tells my story is up on the internet, and now you start to see people responding to it, saying, "Oh yeah, the police were doing their job. Oh yeah, the guy, he looks like a hooligan. He looks like a gangster. They were right for pushing him up against the wall." And the first real one was, why does colour always have to come into this? These people just got a chip on their shoulder. Now I got to say that in general, you have opinions of people that you have never met in your life before. It's just how things work. You naturally see certain stuff all the time, and it makes you form an opinion. But we've not formed our opinion on the police based on what we've seen in the media. We have first-hand experience being roughed up, being kind of coerced into acting out at the hands of the police. And when we say, listen, the police are doing stuff to young black males to disenfranchise them from the UK, victimizing them and criminalizing them, and now radicalizing them, is not because we have a chip on our shoulder. It's because I've been roughed up so many times that I can't see it go on any longer. I don't want to live in a world where I have to sit my child down and say, boom, that now you are 11 years old, the police are going to start looking at you in a certain way. And I went on the Met's website, and it shows that 66% of all stop and searches are of males, or no, I can't say males, of people aged between the age of 15 and 24. So that is a big part of your life. So you're saying that 9 years of your life, you are liable to be stopped and searched for meeting the description. You've not breached any law. You've just been going about your daily business, and the police have used this as an excuse to stop and search you. They stop and search you. They find that you have nothing illegal on you. That should be the end of your stop and search. It says on their website, you're not required to give them your name, age, or address. You're not required. But they're not happy. They have in their mind so much that a black kid walking around the street is guilty of something. I'm going to pull him over on this. And if I don't catch him on this, I'm going to take his name, his address, and his age. And hopefully we caught one of his friends, and they've said, oh, yeah, when I was doing this, this person was with me. And then they run your name, and they find that it could be, okay, 2 weeks ago, we brought in so-and-so. You know so-and-so, right? Like, he said that you was with him when such and such happened. Like, these are not stories. Like, these ain't fabricated, oh, yeah. These are first-hand accounts of how the police operate. And for police to operate in a way that disenfranchises and, quite frankly, is starting to radicalize young youth is not something that you can turn a blind eye to.
Even the article, because we posted it on our Facebook page with the mindset, and there was a woman who commented, yeah? She was talking how she's been stopped and searched. And the thing is, we're not saying, like, when it says that black people are more likely to be stopped and searched, it doesn't mean you can only be more likely if, you know what I mean, that means that other people are getting stopped and searched also. We're not saying that no one gets stopped and searched. And we're not even saying that necessarily the idea of stopping and searching is bad. Necessarily, well, I don't know. I don't really know how I thought about that yet. But other people get stopped and searched. We're not disputing that. However, it's how they're treated in the process. When I got stopped and searched, it was often that the assumption was already that I had done something wrong and that I had something on me. That's not the assumption when they stop and search other people, and I've seen it. And then when they find nothing, they apologize to them. They're like, oh, sorry, you know, it's our job, you know, they try to offer excuses. I don't think once I can remember them apologizing. Not once. And it's not like I've only been stopped and searched twice. This is countless times. Do you understand? Not once can I remember them saying sorry. Because this is your job, yes, but you done it wrong. You didn't. You stopped and searched your own person. Whilst you were stopping and searching me, maybe some other guy was down the street robbing someone. The fact is that you made a mistake. I'm not saying that you're not human, so you can't make a mistake. But you apologize, and you don't carry it out as if you're better than someone, or as if the person that you're stopping and searching is already a criminal. The law in this country is innocent until proven guilty. I've done nothing. I'm walking. What, is walking a crime now? No, so suddenly you have to treat me as if I'm some sort of criminal.
Now what I'm saying is, and what you need to think of before you start jumping in these comments is, when is the last time you have been stopped and searched for meeting the description. Not the last time the police have pulled you over because there was something, you were speeding, or you was actually breaking a law, or something was faulty with your car, there was a light out. When is the last time the police have approached you and said, okay, you meet the description, we are now going to carry out a search? If you can't say you've experienced that, then you will never really understand how we feel and how a large number of young males of color feel, because it is constant and it is routinely. There's periods of time where I would say I was stopped in the 20s. Like, I stopped like 20 times within a month. I don't think there's people out there who can say they've been stopped 20 times for not doing anything wrong in their lifetime, just for walking the street. Once I've been told, okay, you're not allowed to walk in this area with 2 or more people. So are you saying that the only way I can walk around here is to walk by myself? Like, some of the excuses they use to stop and search are so ludicrous that it makes you feel that these people are not here to protect us. They're here to victimize us. We don't know if they have quotas to meet, but the stories that you tell, they don't meet what you're being pulled over for. So I think it's very important for people who don't understand where we're coming from to, on this situation, actually, before casting judgment, want to learn why we feel this way. And if you feel there's no problem with routinely stereotyping people and saying, okay, yeah, the police were doing their job, at least say, if they get it wrong, they should be saying, sorry, have a good day, we got it wrong, go about what you're doing. Not, here's your slip, walk off.
I agree. And another thing that people try to say is talking about how it's not as bad as in the US or other places. And okay, I agree, it's not. If you look at the US statistics, it's crazy the amount of black people that are in prison and the amount of time that the average black person spends in prison. It's ridiculously high compared to England. However, just because America's worse doesn't mean that there's no problem in England. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't look at the problem in England. We're living in England. I'm not. What have I got to speak about in America? I don't know the situation there. I've been twice when I was younger, but as of now, I'm living in Britain. I'm a British citizen. So if I'm being stopped and searched as a British citizen by British police, by the Metropolitan Police, living in London, then that's what I'm going to speak about. And there is a problem there. Whether or not it's worse somewhere else, the problem is still there. Do you understand? That's as if you see someone, you know what I mean, abusing their wife, they're hitting their wife or something, then you can say, I'll leave them because in other countries people are shooting their wives. Yeah, okay, cool. In other countries it's worse, but it doesn't mean there's not a problem here. We have to discuss the problem that's here.
And yeah, that kind of mentality is so naive to say, because something's worse over there, that we shouldn't do nothing over here. Now, on a humanity level, the killing of innocent people, is something that nobody should be benchmarking what they're doing. Because I'm not killing, I can do anything but kill innocent people, and I'm seen to be doing a good job. Like, that is ludicrous. If you walk around with that kind of perception of pointing out the flaws in other people to justify your shortfalls, you'll never progress. So if you want to live in a society that doesn't progress, then carry on with that mindset. But that is not what I want to be a part of. If someone's doing something wrong, I'm going to point that out. And through this ordeal, speaking with other people who've seen the story, other men of color, they're like, listen, police need to stop doing this because you have no criminal record and they're treating you like a criminal. This has happened to me a number of times, and some of them are like, you know what, because I do have a criminal record, I don't feel like I can speak up. But you don't, so you should definitely speak up, because we know how the media is going to spin the story. If I say something, and just like they do when it comes to people of color, when people of color are victims, they like to investigate their past and say, okay, he's a victim of what happened to him because 2 years ago he was part of this, or 5 years ago he was once arrested for having weed on him. You know what I mean? But when a white person is a victim, they don't go into that person's past. It's just, oh yeah, they're a white person. They weren't gang related. They weren't this. They weren't that, and they were just killed, or they were innocent. You know what I mean? And and that's how society projects black people to the point of where before I was conscious, whenever I read a newspaper and it said, oh, okay, a young black male was killed, and then everybody was saying, oh yeah, this person, he was a good male, he went to university or he went to college, he was doing this. In my head I was like, nah, like if you went to university or you was going to college and you was a good boy and you got killed, now you was involved in something else. But then I looked at myself and I was like, raw, if I was to get killed and people were to write in the newspaper, all right, he was a good boy, he was going to university, he was never in any trouble, the general consensus would be, no, actually, if he was doing all that stuff, he would have not been dead. But that was the truth of the matter. So I had to start waking up and thinking, Raj, you know what? You guys have based your opinion on us as a media, as we said in a number of podcasts now. So I think we need to get this one about the media done. But I want to really wait till we have like a couple of other points of view in the room. But yeah, it's just like the police can't continue acting in this way. And from the time where the chief of the Metropolitan Police has said this is a problem, we need to stop acting in this sort of way. There should be action now. There shouldn't be anybody saying these black people have chips on their shoulder. The head of the police has come out and said, listen, we operate in a way that victimizes young black males. We need to change that. And if you have anything to say that is contradictory to that, you need to either stay silent or go away and do some more research and come back with a valid point of view, because the point of view is they're only doing their job, but they're doing it in a way that victimizes certain people. If that is valid for you, there's no point even entering a conversation.
As well to say though that it's not as if we're saying that there's anything wrong with the way that police treat white people. So saying that a policeman will stop and search a white person and then apologize we're not saying that that's wrong, that they should treat the white person the same as they treat the black person. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that they treat white people, when they stop and search them, like human beings. So I'm saying that should be the standard. I'm saying that that's good, so they make that standard. It doesn't matter whether a person's black or is Asian or whatever. If you stop it, if you treat him like a criminal, then that's because he's a criminal, not because he's black. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And as for these people, I think my friend here feels a bit more strongly about it, yeah. But obviously, if you have an opposing view, then I can understand why you have that view. I'm not gonna lie, I can see why. If you're living in a sheltered environment, you've never really experienced it, then how are you going to know? I can't blame you for not knowing. However, it's once you start hearing things and so many people are saying something, so many black people are complaining about it, you must at least like wonder. You must at least it must cross your mind. Actually, there might be some truth to what they're saying. So if you feel like that, then go and research, find out. Actually look at the statistics. Actually look at people who died in police custody. Actually look at people who, who've been stopped and searched. Speak to people you know. I'm sure, as I said, we live in a multicultural society. I'm sure you know people of different heritages. Ask your white friends and ask your black friends. Ask those who live, and not only, even ask the white people who live in black areas, and ask black people who live in white areas. Compare it. Actually find out. Do your research, and go to certain schools in black areas, for example. My school had quite a few black people in it. It was had quite a high population of black people, and schools in places like Tottenham and You know what I mean? These places where there was at least more black people when I was growing up, you find that there's always a police officer in the school, and sometimes they got what do you call it, like that what do you call them?
Metal detector.
Yeah, metal detectors. That's it. Don't know, I forgot that. But they got metal detectors at the doors, and I'm sure that they justify it based on stabbings in the school and whatnot. But and you know what I mean, they judge the having police there based on people who have drugs in the school. But go to white schools and tell me that there's no one doing drugs there. You think there's no one doing drugs in white schools? Well, why is it not that big an issue? Why is the selling of drugs, why is possession of drugs, yeah? So if a black person possesses drugs, then the assumption is that he's selling it. And a white person possesses drugs, the assumption is that it's for consumption. And why does one outweigh the other? And the thing that I'm saying as well is that I'm not saying that no white person gets stopped and searched, and I'm not saying that no white person is sort of like they are stopped and searched incorrectly. Maybe they say because of the way they dress or whatever it may be. But even why does dressing in a particular way mean that you're a criminal? I guarantee if you take the amount of people who dress in a way that people perceive to be criminal and actually see how many of them are criminals, you'll be amazed.
I've come to a point where the actual situation when it comes to stop and search is actually mind-boggling. Do you know what I mean? For it to be so apparent that there's an inequality in the way that these actions are going about, but there's no change. So, just like Bayo was saying, like, I'm not saying that white people don't get stopped and searched, but the percentages outweigh them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you getting stopped and searched once in a year, and a black male being stopped probably could be, let's be conservative, 12 times in a year. Of course you're going to have a certain perception on this police force. It's not nothing to do with we're angry young black males. It's nothing to do with the music we listen to. Nothing to do with us personally. It's to do with just we happen to be black, and the police force is an institution that is self-confessed to be institutionally racist. Let's change this. That should be the main thing. As humans, yeah, if you see an injustice, yeah, then the human nature would to right that injustice. I think that's what sets us apart from the animals. We have the ability to see something and say, listen, that is actually wrong. Not that, okay, because it's happened to these people, that, okay, we can let it continue. And even reading through the comments, I've seen some comments that are not valid, but are relevant. Like it says that a lot of black people carry weapons and a lot of black people sell drugs. Now, they saying that instead of being mad at the police, yeah, for stopping and searching you should be mad at your black people for.
The funny thing is, I know more white drug dealers than black drug dealers.
The funny thing is, I know more white drug dealers than black drug dealers. I know more white people take drugs than black people take drugs. Like, let's look at the festival, festivals, Glastonbury. How many people OD in Glastonbury every year? Is there major police standing outside Glastonbury searching everybody like there is at Wireless Festival?
Or Notting Hill.
Or Notting Hill Carnival? When people are actually dying from taking drugs? Are there sniffer dogs all up and down there trying to prevent people from losing life? Or no, are they standing at Notting Hill because the preconception is that, okay, there's a gathering of black people, there's going to be trouble? Like, this is how the world is viewing stuff. And everybody who fails to see the wood through the trees is actually quite naive, because it's there. It's very blatant. Once you understand these stuff, then you start to have a different outlook on how people should operate. And I can't continue, bro. I just can't. The fact that I meet so much resistance from wanting to make a positive change is mind-boggling.
And it's all of this this movement, like that Black Lives Matter thing, yeah? It's been going on social media and all of that. And it's this resistance that people have. They're like, all lives matter.
Yeah.
No doubt all lives matter. No one's saying that. But the fact is that it's the Black lives at the moment that people are undervaluing, and if they just assume that because a person's black, they must have done something wrong, so they can be killed or they can be arrested and they can be in prison for nothing. And again, it's not to... The thing is that when we say that the police force is institutionally racist, it's not to say that every single person who joins the police force... I've met some proper nice police officers. Yeah. Like, I'm saying even some of my friends at school, and even now, their parents were police officers or whatever. I'm not saying that every police officer is racist, but the sort of what they're trained to do and how they're trained to do it, and the institution in general, it's clear that there's racism there. It's clear.
Yeah, so if you come in as just a young budding police officer, yes, I want to do right in the world, yeah? And every day you're told this. Eventually you will become part of the machine that is institutionally racist. We can't take that away, you know? And when it comes to these, like, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, you know, we were saying before, like, some people have the mentality of, okay, listen, there's this going wrong in the world, there's that going wrong in the world, there's also this else going wrong in the world. Because I can't effectively change all of them, instead of dedicating my efforts to change one of them, and then once that has changed, I can move on to the next one, I'd rather sit here and do nothing and let someone else sort it out. So you have Black Lives Matter. What is really important to them is the killing of innocent black males or innocent black people in America. If that's important to them, that's important to them. And it is everything, like the feminist movement. Like, I'm playing with fire right about now, yeah. But the feminist movement, I know some people who don't agree with the feminist movement because they're saying, okay, well, other people are treated, there's inequalities above male and female. So you can't just talk about inequality between male and female. You need to talk about inequality between lower socioeconomic class and higher socioeconomic class. You need to talk about inequality between Asian women and white women. Like, there's so many inequalities out there that there should be the same amount of resistance to a feminist movement than that there is to any other sort of movement. But there are actually people who out there who say actually the feminist movement is just a bunch of women who are fighting for equality. But the Black Lives Matter is some sort of radicalized, underground sort of Black Panther resembled movement that is about disrupting society.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the Black Panthers, by the way.
No. I don't think there's nothing wrong with the Black Panthers. But in America, the Black Panthers have been painted as a terrorist organization. Yeah. So now they're saying, okay, now we've got the next Black Panthers. We've got the Black Lives Matters. They're not actually interested in Black Lives Matter. What they're interested in is disrupting the USA.
I saw one thing, I think it was on Facebook or something, I can't remember. I'm talking about, like, it was one woman, she was a white woman as well, but she was saying how, comparing the Black Lives Matter and then saying all lives matter is as if you go to a cancer convention, yeah, trying to raise money to stop cancer, and you're saying, why are you just worrying about cancer? Heart disease matters as well. You know what I mean? High blood pressure kills as well. And it does. No one's denying that it does. But right now we're talking about this because this is one of the major things that's happening in society. You understand?
And I think that, like, as you see in them situations, people ain't fighting against it. I don't know why people are fighting against such movements. You know what I mean? If that's not what your focus is on at the moment, then you focus on what you want to focus on, but don't try to cut down what other people are focusing on. Say, all right, that's what you're fighting for. Yeah, I mean, I'll have a sensible conversation about why I don't feel like it is, but I'm not actively going to go out there and try to demonize your movement at every step because I don't personally agree with it. It's crazy, man. And
again, but we have to look at everything from both sides. So now that we've explained this, I feel if you got any comments to say, then leave that in the comment section, whatever your view may be. But we have to look at it on for example, if you are a young black male, yeah, and you know that you're living in an area where you're gonna get stopped and searched by the police, then I think it's prudent that we mention that really once you get stopped and searched, then don't behave in a manner that will aggravate the police. Don't behave in a manner that will give the police a sort of a reason to behave in a certain way. And also, don't you know what I mean? Don't underestimate the value of how you carry yourself. The fact of the matter is that we shouldn't have to dress in a certain way to be perceived as not respectable, but to be perceived as not a criminal. You understand? So if it shouldn't have to be that you have to wear a suit every single day for people to not think you're a criminal. But really and truly, if that's what you need to do, then you understand. Consider doing it. I'm not. Yeah. I'm just trying to say on a practical and
practically, the only thing we can actually control is our image. Like we can try to get the police as an organization to change the way they view, but the sad reality is, okay, if you dress in this certain way, you're going to be perceived like that. And if that's how you want to express yourself, go ahead and express yourself in that way. But what you will need to do is now read up on what your rights are, when stopped and searched. Now, as I said before in the article, I don't have to give my name, age, or my address. I know from being stopped numerous amount of times that when they take my name, it's not to say, sorry, Mr. This, we made a mistake. It's so they can put my name into their computer and see if I'm wanted for any other crimes. So learning what you need to do, first of all, is this a stop and attend or is this a stop and search? Am I obliged to stop? Is that a request or is that an order? Do you know what I mean? Once you know your rights, which white people have taken knowing your rights as being guilty, and if you're innocent, why do you not want to give your name? If you're innocent, why do you not want to stop? Like, I got places to be going. Do you know what I mean? I know giving my name isn't going to mean that the time's going to go from me being stopped from 5 minutes to being stopped to 2 minutes. I know giving my name is going to take my stop from being 5 minutes to being 10 minutes because they're going to run it through the computer and that's going to take however long for it to get back, and that's it. So once you need to kind of learn what you should do. First of all, you need to know, pull out your phone. First thing, pull out your phone because you are allowed to record the police. Regardless of what they say, you're in a public place, pull out your phone, say, listen, I'm recording this.
Yeah, it's important to let them know that you're recording as well.
I'm recording this, yeah? Before you stop and search me, before I give my consent, yeah? Because they can't act without your consent. Before I give your consent, yeah? Explain to me why you have stopped me, yeah? It says the police may stop you if they have reasonable cause to believe you have done something. The police can't stop you and say, oh, I think you were the person that we're looking for. They have to have reasonable cause. So if they don't have that, you can say, listen, you have no power here. I'm going to carry on about my day, officer. And if they want to arrest you, you have that film and you go to a lawyer and you say, listen, review my case. If you're under the age, I believe, of 18, or you're in still full education, you can get legal aid. So you just say, all right, listen, this is my case. Please stop me for fitting description. During the stop and search, there was a number of police misconducts. What can we do about this? Because this is the only way that they're going to change. You got to hit them where it hurts. And that's by slandering their public reputation. Actually, in the past 6 months, we've had over 2,000 complaints of police racially profiling certain people, which is not correct. So once you know you're right, and I think we'll try to put together some sort of video of what your rights are, and also I'll be very interested if you can send any videos you have of the police stopping you, so we could just maybe put them up on YouTube or something, because they're all quite entertaining, and that's how people start to learn. All right, boom, this is how I can act with police. And let's just remember, you're a public servant, so please speak to me with respect. Yeah, you're not above me. Yeah, you're here to help. I will cooperate to the best of my ability, sir. But actually, your tone is quite aggressive, and there's no need for it. You know what I mean? You're in danger of being, you know what I mean, beaten or something like that for speaking with such authority. But you're within your rights to do such stuff.
What some things that were said here throughout the podcast, I think that when we said white people, I don't want anyone to think that we're now saying that all white people do something. Really and truly, it would be ignorant for me to say that all white people think that black people have a chip on their shoulder. That would just be as bad as saying all black people have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Because it's stereotyping white people. So that just to remove that, there's no. When I'm speaking about people that I know in it.
Bro, this guy loves to put me out there, you know. I second everything that Bayo said. When he loves to
I don't
leave
know, bro.
listen,
I can only speak for myself, and I ain't trying to speak for no
he
one.
can see me nodding my head in agreement. He can, when he sees me nodding my head in agreement, that's when he says, I can only speak for myself. Listen, I also agree, you know what I mean? I sometimes slip into the habit of just saying all white people, and where really I mean there is a portion of white people who think this way. So
if anything, I'm trying to help you though, fam. Cause you're nodding your head, but no one can see you nodding your head. You get me?
So why don't
now you come on, you jump on, and you're like, yeah, me as well. You get me? So
why don't you just say?
nice.
Why don't you say A's nodding his head as well?
Yeah, I could say that, or have a bit of fun in it.
Yeah.
But just to clarify that, yeah. So again, if you have any comments or anything that you want to leave, and you want to let us know about, then please do so. And as usual, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at More Than Mindset, and view the rest of our podcasts on YouTube, More Than a Mindset.
Yeah, we're gonna, as always, we would like to cycle back round to this topic. So leave your comments in the comment section. We're still running these university tours. I know like couple semesters are out, but going into the next year, if you're programming in any sorts of events, contact us, and we'll love to go from there. That's been the More Than a Mindset podcast. Like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.